How many of you guys are totally confused on the whole SaaS thing? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big technology person, right? I just like the sales components, business development activities. I'm not crazy about coding anything. It's just not my cup of tea. So for me, I almost sometimes can't even differentiate between one feature versus another, even in like use case scenarios, right? I'm just like, dude, cool. I think my customers want it. They can get something done with it. We're ready to rock and roll. And that's about how I look at it, right? So there's two things to that. One is it gives me a simplistic perspective in how the customers look at all the technology that we provide, right? And I stay in that lane. Even internally, when we have built out any features, they kind of do a Paulson test. Can we do a Paulson test where he understands it at a simple level? Here's how we're going to communicate, right? It's pretty hilarious in house. I play the stupid guy inside, right, with development and everything, genuinely, because I just don't like drowning in technology, right? So in high level, we're all prone to that. There's 32 softwares combined into one. It's very easy and very reasonable to drown in so much of the technology piece. So I want to simplify this down for you guys. Um, if you have not watched my some of my initial trainings on a sales demo, can I get a one for those of you that have watched some of the previous sales trainings that I've done and you've seen some of the demo trainings or even teachings on how to do an intro call, right? Okay, awesome. There's a lot of you that have watched it, which is great because I'm gonna build upon that, right? If you haven't watched it, they're in the YouTube channel. Feel free to go in there and watch it. I break down, how to do a 5 minute intro call for almost 2 hours. It's crazy, but we did do that, right? Same thing with the demo. Your demos shouldn't be more than 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. And if you go beyond that, either you're not simple with how you're approaching it, or you yourself don't know what exactly is needed for your clients and you're trying to discover it as you go. Okay. Um, Let me go ahead and share my fancy slide decks with you so that way we can get started. Let's see. Perfect. So I've got some very valuable things that I want to share with you guys. Okay. The perfect SaaS demo, right? Let me make sure we're recorded. All right, cool. Now, if you don't know how to do a regular demo, it's going to be hard to do a SaaS demo, right? A regular demo is where, if you're new to the agency space, most of us demonstrate our services, right? We demonstrate either through a PowerPoint, a Zoom call, a visual, you know, um, demonstration, a visual like layout of what the customer would get, your agency clients, right? Most of you that are in here, I'm going to assume you guys are all agency business owners. There's a few of you in here that are, small business owners that own maybe brick and mortar locations. Even if you want to dabble into the marketing services, this is still going to be very valuable to you. Now, here's a couple of the challenges when it comes to demos. With SaaS, normally what you're thinking about as the presenter is, well, what all do I need and make sure that this client gets, right? Your mindset is not really sales. It's typically technology oriented mindset when you do SaaS selling, right? Because you're thinking about SaaS at a subconscious level. You're thinking about features, you're thinking about capabilities, you're thinking about really anything that goes into making sure integrations and systems or all these things are ready to go. Okay. How many of you can resonate with me on that, right? When you sell agency stuff, it's much easier to have your mindset in a sales framework, because guess what? You don't really have a question on your Facebook ads that you're going to run or Google ads or your funnels. You're already familiar with what that's going to look like, right? With SaaS, it's almost like, well, I'm going to kind of sell something that I'm not even sure of how it's going to all glue together for my clients. But I know I should sell SaaS, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in, right? Because that just the speech that's been around for the last couple of months is like SaaS mode, SaaS mode, SaaS mode. So you're just trying to discover what that even looks like for yourself. So these are some of the challenges that I'm getting feedback on, talking to a lot of you agency owners, right? Now, when it comes to the objections, right, what I'm going to do here is this. I'm going to lay out, I have two presentations, just so you know. The first one is going to be me talking to you as the agency owners, right? I'm just going to share with you of everything you should think about when you're presenting. Everything you should think about at a conscious level and subconscious level of how you lay things out. And the second thing I want to do is actually go into a demo with you. Would that be cool? Give me a 1 if that gives you a bit more idea of how this is going to go. Okay, awesome. Right. So first things first, I'm doing 2 presentations at the same time because it's going to be very relevant. I'm going to talk to you guys and kind of walk you through of how to fish. Here's the mistake I don't want to make. I don't want to hand over some slides and give you the fish. Like that's not going to do you any good, right? What is going to do you good is if I can show you how to fish, right? I want to show you. Hey, Hector. Okay, cool. Let me actually mute everybody respectfully, and then we'll come back to Q&A, right? So what I don't want to do is be like, hey, here's a stupid script, here's the stupid slides, here's what I think you can make it work. It works for me, it works for other people. It may or may not work for you, but here's the actual, Band-Aid, right? It's not going to solve your business problems of understanding how you need to really be agile in your demo, right? And I'm going to show you an actual demo, and it's going to be really interesting for you guys. So just a couple of things as I go through this. Objection differences, okay? SaaS objections are going to be a little different versus agency objections, okay? When you sell your normal agency services, your professional services, whether you're branding business, lead gen business, PR business, I don't know, copywriting business, whatever you guys are running, right? The agency professional services is typically driven around results. Can this guy deliver the results that I'm going to pay him for? That's about the only thing the customers or the prospects are thinking about, right? With SaaS, it's not just the business owner and their objections. It's the entire team that is going to adopt this whole model, right? So their staff, their business partners, it's not just like the sales guy, right? It's going to be a group of people that you're selling to versus one individual, right? And that's one of the biggest things you got to remember. With the agency objections, if you go back to the old trainings that I've done, I talk about price being an objection. Price is not an objection, but it's something that comes up, right? It's something that needs to be addressed. And then time, how long does it take? What's my commitment? What should I expect during this time frame? Things of that nature. And then sales management. Typically, most of us agencies, back in the day, we used to be able to just zap some good old leads onto an Excel sheet and just hand that over, and they would just call everybody with their cell phones and landlines, So we never had to track sales with marketing services. We're at an age in the marketing world that we actually have to be a sales organization and not just be a marketing provider. So therefore, one of the biggest objections with agencies is, how are we going to do sales, right? Are you going to be closing these deals? Are you good at closing these deals as a business owner if I provided you leads, right? And that's relevant to whether you're running pay-per lead model or retainer model or commission model or whatever it is, right? And then the biggest factor with agency objections is trust. Most of us have saturated the hell out of most of these industries in a healthy way, right? So they don't know how to differentiate between all of us, right? We're all on the same team. We all love each other. We do great things, but from the prospect's perspective, agency A, B, C, and D are not. They cannot differentiate each other because everybody provides Facebook ads and Google ads. Well, if I need more leads, I can call that guy, right? That's about the extent of it. They just see you as one of the vendors. So it's actually harder, in my opinion, to differentiate yourself as an agency. Now, let's talk about SaaS objections. These agency objections don't necessarily go away in these conversations. They still see you as somebody who knows technology relevant to marketing, right? But what I want you to think about with SaaS is there is a technical migration. That's a true objection, right? If I have, let's see, I do need a volunteer that is going to just chime back with me when we do the demo. Give me somebody. Give me a one if you want to be the volunteer.
I'll help you.
Who is that?
Steve, yeah.
Okay, Steve, awesome. Perfect. So Steve, you may have, as a business owner, right? You may have 3, 4 different systems. Even if everything I provide is perfect, there is an issue of migration, right? That's a true objection. Then um, the change management, right? Meaning I am having to now implement and get the buy-in from my team, even if I am okay with you, Paulson. I like what you're presenting, but I don't know if my team is going to be down for this. They're already used to a certain flow in their operations, but I see the value of what you're providing. I truly have a need of figuring out how I'm going to get the buy-in for the rest of my team. Okay. Then
That
the other.
never happened. That never happens, huh, Monica? Alon? My team's on here right now going, "Oh my god."
Awesome. Yeah. So then the other side is the cultural adoption, right? If they're essentially, let's say, a sales minded business, right? If that business owner is focused on sales, his culture and how he's building it is going to be very different than the business owners who are simply just focused on, just providing the services. Their thought process could be, if I provide great elite superior services, more business should come my way through either word of mouth or referrals or whatever. They're not really sales oriented mind, right? So that's something that you got to actually create with this model. Then ongoing support. Who's going to help me with the system after I say yes to you or not, right? Then the solutions capability. Like, can you actually match the features and capabilities to make sense with their operations? Okay. Now, a couple of things on that point that I want to mention, right? Don't force a system on somebody because you like it, because it has so many different features. That's not a reason for them to adopt, right? So, a couple of things that I pay attention to is, what are the pros and cons? It's okay to say no on SaaS because guess what? You're not really missing out on a huge amount, right? And you're not going to lose if they don't sign up with you. These are meant to be a bonus to what you normally do, right? So you don't have to force it upon them to just be like, hey, this is what you need. Nothing else is going to solve your problems. Like, that's definitely not the approach you want to take, because guess what? SaaS typically evolves, right? Later on, one of the features may roll out where you're like, oh man, now it makes sense for me to go back and reach out to them and put together something that makes sense, right? So remember, it's better to get the honest, true sale versus sale now that doesn't make sense and you're forcing them into the system. It causes more harm for you as a business and agency if you oversell somebody on SaaS. Okay, this is one of the least things you want to do. Then time frame, right? I think we already covered that. Now, how many of you guys yourself as agency owners understand why we're coming out and saying, hey guys, be a software company? Anybody in here that needs like a quick review of why we want you guys to consider being a software company instead of being an agency? Give me a one in the chat if you want me to explain why. Okay, there's a few of you that are in here that is really saying why. Okay, sure. Most agency services, right? Well, there's more ones than I thought. Okay, cool. George says two. We can
What's
move
up,
on.
brother?
Okay, cool. Let me let me just quickly go over this. Here's a problem with the agency model, guys. It's a great cash cow. We all know that. We can make some serious cash doing this, right? But the problem is the churn level on agency services and professional services is ridiculously high. Most agencies have a 75 to 80% churn rate, which means 70% of your clients don't stay on with you. And on top of that, the time frame of that is about 3 to 4 months. And I'm talking about somebody who's delivering perfect services. We're not even talking about, the scenarios of bad leads, quantity of leads that are not there, the wrong leads, the wrong branding. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about perfect services, and odds are your clients are going to leave you, right? Right? And that's just the way the landscape of the industry is today. It's not necessarily because of your quality of services or your business model or your staff. I mean, dude, like the high level agency, we've won like 8 9 national awards for what we do, and that's where you get all the marketplace services, right? We still lose clients. Our direct clients, 6 months later, 10 months later, if they don't have a SaaS plan, they walk away anyway, right? No matter how perfect of a delivery you did. So because of that, what we looked at is like, well, with the software model, once you have them adopt into the software, those subscriptions stay on for years, right? 5 6 years. They don't just sit around and just adopt, right? Anything and everything that comes their way. It really has to be there, right? Now, I want to show you guys some math as well to kind of support my point here. If you, let's say, let me see where I was. I'll go through the math real quick. But here, the churn rate is number one, right? SaaS has less than 10% churn. Agency services has over 70% churn, right? So if you could imagine your agency today and you had never lost a client, what would your agency look like? Right? Let's say you started in 2017 or 15 and you have never lost a client. Where would your agency be at a size level, right? It's something that is so drastically interesting because odds are most of you in the range that we look at, everybody is around no more than about 8 to maybe like 20 clients. That's the 90% of the range of sizes, right? And I'm saying that with a lot of data behind me, right? I can look at every single agency account today and really understand which ones have active clients coming in, active leads that are being pumped in, and really understand how many active clients we can keep. So we thought about it. We're like, well, we got to roll out SaaS so you guys can be software companies, right? Now, MSP in the IT world, we talked about the managed service provider. There needs to be a layer of professionals that can help adopt software, right? We truly think marketing agencies are the perfect MSPs for this, right? And the reason why is because you have sales acumen, right? You have technology skill set. Most of you have much more than I do when it comes to technology, right? And then you have adoption agility, meaning most of you are not too big where it takes you like 3 months to make a change, right? We're all running typically a 5 man show or less, right? So therefore, if you just want to roll out a service for somebody or get something done, you can just make some changes, couple of meetings, get a contractor in there and just knock it out for your client, right? So there's a lot of agility. That's why we truly think local digital agencies are the perfect bridge for SaaS. Okay. Now, going back to the other component, if you go with SaaS, you can eliminate ongoing fulfillment altogether if you want to, right? It sounds crazy, but if you can run a business where you don't have to do a whole lot of servicing, you're going to have less churn. You're going to keep more clients because everything is a bit more buttoned down. There's less interactions, right? Less relationship management. But in the beginning of SaaS build out, it's going to take, that onboarding thing, the phasing of just bringing them in, helping them adopt and things like that. But after that, it should be cookie cutter, less and less issues on support, less and less, the user just rises on intelligence of the system, right? So they can essentially be very, very agile without your help. So that allows you to get away from fulfillment. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you get, I mean, November, December, or even earlier, October, November, we were seeing a ton of ad accounts getting shut down by Facebook, left and right, right? So were you guys, especially with the political landscapes and this and that. SaaS is just so irrelevant to any of those things, all those things that are changing drastically. You'll be able to keep your subscriptions going without any third party involvement, no other impact, right? So that's one of the coolest things. The other component is you get closer to the revenue line as a business, right? Most of us marketing agencies, and I say this respectfully, we're kind of the stepchild vendor that they kind of don't want to deal with, right? If I have to go hire marketing, that means either my products or services are not good enough or people just don't like me. Right? That's the mindset most of these business owners are starting before they even decide to hire a marketing professional, right? So if you come in with SaaS, you're actually going to be able to take over their operational side of the business. Therefore, you get closer to that revenue line, right? You're much more important as a provider versus just being the Facebook ads guy. Okay. Now, I want to just share some things with you guys at a personal level, right? This is something I've figured out for myself, okay? And I think this will help some of you. Now, when presenting, even if it's SaaS demo, agency demo, or even when you're just talking, right? Even when you're communicating with your clients, this is going to be relevant even for account management reasons, right? You want to be a bit more aware linguistically of how you speak, okay? And couple of things that I always catch people when they do SaaS demos is they're not linguistically aware. Okay. You want to simplify your words as if you're talking to a child, right? Nobody cares about triggers. Nobody cares about integrations and coding and all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. The tagging, like it doesn't matter. To them, they just need something that they can understand very simply. Oh, your system is going to help me with this. And that's about it. Like, don't overcomplicate it, right? And also, when you speak and do presentations, this is something I am terrible at myself because I get excited when I'm talking about a lot of these things, and I have a habit of interrupting too, right? So it's one of the things that I'm working on myself, right? Let others complete their thoughts, right? If your prospect is going to talk to you and you want them to talk to you, and they're talking about all kinds of stuff, let them just finish their thoughts and then use your simplified words to reset the conversation. Okay, this is something you got to be really aware of. How do you even discover this? You got to record yourself, reevaluate how you're presenting, memorize words if you have to, memorize, your transitions if you have to. Okay, and then don't excitingly interrupt. As soon as they tell you, and this happens with SaaS demos all the time, as soon as they tell you about a issue they have, and you can think of like a feature that solves for it, odds are you're going to want to interrupt them so you don't forget your thought process of that feature, right? And some of you can relate with me pretty easily on this, right? So don't get too excited on this. Now, lead with questions. The person that's asking the question is going to be in control, or the person that gives the permission to be questioning, right? If you're selling to a group, you should be the one giving permission for everybody in that group to be talking, right? Like, and that gives you control even if you're not the one questioning, right? But ideally you're going to typically deal with one business owner, maybe one other person with them, and you're going to be in control. And the way you're going to really control the entire conversations is going to be asking the right questions and leading with questions, right? So anytime they share something with you, you want to make sure it's relevant to that moment of how you're presenting, and then going right into asking those questions, right? And speaking less is more effective, right? Odds are you're going to try to prove your system. You want to figure out how to, I mean, normally we're all trying to technologically prove the system and show them through technology that this is going to work and change the way they do business. Normally they don't absorb that content like that, right? You have to talk to them in their operational language, in how they deal with that industry, in what they do, in that industry, right? Now, you want to also listen for subconscious objections. Most of us, that have sales experience, you typically only deal with objections that they've mentioned, right? That's about all you dig in and try to tackle, right? But you typically don't look for cues and understand where's the tonality of this interaction, right? What is the mood that's in this presentation? How exciting are they? How, confused do they seem? How, does it feel like we're just dragging on, right? You want to be really aware of a lot of those things, right? I think we talked about why I personally think digital agencies are the best bridge for SaaS. Let's go through the map out of a 7-figure run rate. And what I want to do then is talk about the pricing model, and then we'll go right into the demo. Is that fair, guys? Is a lot of what I'm sharing resonating with you? If it is, give me like a one real quick.
Yeah, it's doing a great job.
Okay, awesome, George. Perfect. So let's skip this slide. So I don't know how many of you guys have spent some time mapping out your projections with SaaS, and I want to just share some ideas with you. Okay. And this is something myself and Rob and Alex put together. We were having lunch the other day, like I think like maybe like 2 weeks ago, and we were just going through and just running some numbers. How would an agency really be able to map this out? And what we did was just choose a number for you guys, which is the 297 subscription, right? And that meaning you're going to be selling 297 subscriptions for SaaS for yourself, right? And then also along with the setup fee of 297, let me just add that on, in addition of 297, right? And then we accounted for a sales closer for you as well as an account manager. Let me just share what that would look like, right? So you guys see my Excel sheet? Am I sharing the right thing? Okay, cool. Um, you guys see my Excel sheet, right?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so monthly recurring charge, right? Let's say you decide, here's why we really think agencies really strongly should consider being a software company, right? Let's say you charge 297 for your subscription plans. And on top of that, we recommend you charging a setup fee. A setup fee one time of 297. Let's say Steve Young and we decide to partner up together, and we're going to run this whole SaaS model, and we decide we're going to make sure we get at least 25 customers for SaaS, right? And that seems like a very high number, but it really is not compared to agency services. We're not telling you to go land 25 agency services, right? A lot of the established agencies do numbers like that very easily, but if you can close one agency deal a week, you're in a really strong position on scaling, right? But when it comes to SaaS, you're able to do much larger volume, okay? Because barrier of entry is low, and all you have to do is help them adopt the system. So let's say monthly goal is 25. Monthly recurring charge that we set for you is 297. On top of that, you're going to charge a 297. just a setup fee, one-time setup fee, okay? This is how it's going to look like. January 2021, right? Let's say you have 25 customers that you say yes to. Naturally, your automatic recurring revenue, your total monthly revenue is going to be 14. Out of that 14, 7.4 is going to be coming from the 297 you charged, right? It's such a small number, but at 25 customers, this adds up, right? You have close to a 15 grand revenue line. Out of that, recurring is 7.4. So the question becomes, why the setup fee? What does it account for? With $7,400, I truly think you can hire a full-time closer with a base salary of $1,500 to $2,000, and then let them go into 100% commission.
Say that again, Paul, please.
Right? So with a 7,400 setup fee, right, that you're gonna create for yourself when you charge a one-time 297 fee, right? 297 times 25 is gonna put us at like close to, what is it? 14, right? 14.8, right? Right? Out of that, let me redo the math here. 297 plus 297, right, times 25 puts us at 14, right? So the difference accounts for a salesperson and an account manager. You guys follow me?
A salesperson and an account manager. So
Correct. Yeah. You could.
Account manager doing the setting up.
Exactly. So account manager is glorified support, right? It's glorified support, glorified, onboarding. They're gonna lift everything there is to adopt. The adoption plan is on the account manager, right? The other remaining, if you got, let's say, an account, here's what I would do. I would probably get a closer and put them at a base salary of $2,000. If I have $7,400 on that, $2,000 goes to my closer. Base salary, even if you don't do anything, you're going to get $2,000. That gives me commitment of your time, right? The remaining that's left gives me enough ammo to go into an account manager and put them on salary about $5,500. This is simply from a 297 setup fee.
Say those numbers one more time. Go ahead and put them on the screen if you don't mind. Can you do that?
They are.
As far as what you're paying your people, the account manager is making how much?
Yep. So on account management, I would recommend 5,500, right? Base commission, base salary, right? Mm-hmm. For a closer, you're gonna put them at $2,000. The rest they gotta earn. They gotta earn it the hard way, right? Which is gonna be sales, prospecting, sales, whatever else that comes their way. And that also accounts for, let's say you give them 50% commission. You can actually give them even more. You can give them 100% commission if you want.
On the first month. You're talking about just the first month.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
I recommend 100% commission because it's not a big high ticket, right? There's not enough incentivization for them to stay on, right? Most closers want to be closing high ticket, right? Most of them don't know how to close high ticket. That's a different point, but this is how you account your setup fee into being resourceful for these two hats.
Why is the account management so high at $5,500?
That's not high.
You're talking about a client manager, full-time client manager?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, that's not high. So what happens in January? 25, then going into February, you have new revenue that came in, and you also have the new setup fee, right? So at the end of the year, by December, your total recurring revenue sits at like 89. Your total revenue is this for that month, including, and then all you lose out is the 7,400 that you built up, so you don't have any fulfillment. They manage all that for you, and guess what happens? Let's say you decide you're not selling SaaS anymore. Let's say you decide you're done with this whole agency game. This is your new recurring revenue moving forward for life. right? Most of the time, right? And that puts you at 300 clients with the threshold of 25 every single month new, right?
Those numbers look freaking amazing, but we forgot about the 10% attrition. Is it 2%, 10%? I forget the attrition rate. And how often is that?
I don't want to go into the weeds of
Okay.
attrition and all this stuff, right?
Roger, Dodger.
Let's say you give up 50% of that because maybe your account manager is not strong, right? You
Okay.
still sit at 50K recurring revenue going right into the next year.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love it.
With a churn rate of less than 10%, right?
Okay.
That's really high. Churn rate of 10% is really high, right? Most of software companies, they're trying to be around 4 to 5%, right? Now, let's say you take your agency services and sell 10% of your book of business, the 300 people you have. Let's say you take 30 of them and you sell them $2,000 for 1 month of professional services. 1 month, not even a big contract. This is what your numbers would look like. You would make 60 grand that month if you sold 30 people for $2,000 on top of your base new recurring revenue from SaaS. You see how all of a sudden as a model, you're not so dependent on the professional services. That becomes the icing on the cake, right? Therefore, you create a ton of stability in your business and your book of business doesn't churn over, right? Overall, by the end of that year, you'll be at 1.0, right? And this would be from just professional services, right? Does this make sense for you guys? Right? I'll share this with you guys as we go. And now the model that I'm talking about is going to be based on this, right? This is something I want you guys to pay attention to. If you don't get anything out of this demo, this is important. Here's how I would do SaaS when it comes to pricing. I want a gateway offer, $297. On top of that, I want to charge a $300 setup fee, right? That's my gateway offer for us to do business together. Maintenance offer is going to be my professional services, which is going to be around $1,300, right? It's $1,300 plus the SaaS. So let me correct that. So $1,300 plus the $297 puts me at $1,597, which is a very healthy retainer number. Okay, does that make sense? Now, the cool thing is, who cares if they cancel? It doesn't hurt me so much if they cancel, because guess what? I have a downsell offer. On the way out, you want to cancel professional services? No problem. We'll just maintain the system for you, $297. Right? So for life, throughout that entire relationship, you're able to maintain a $297. Okay? Any questions before I go into the actual demo? I want to just take a quick 2-minute break.
Yeah. Hi, Paulson, Howard here.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
When you're saying maintenance services, is that like lead gen or
All
things,
right.
something like that?
Whatever your agency is capable of doing, right? That could be a website, that could be social media management, that can be SEO, that can be lead generation, that could be branding services. But the key is that you're not so dependent on those services anymore to build your business, right? Your book of business is just so healthy because everybody's buying the software, right? Everybody is coming in through that gateway, right? So you can be agile in how you offer these things and decide what makes sense. Remember, you guys are industry professionals, right? I'm not going to tell you should run Facebook ads for XYZ industry. We don't know that. You know that, right? You know what's going to work in that industry more than anybody else. So your combination of professional services is going to be dependent on your expertise of that industry, and you're able to craft something very, very, very good because you know what the needs are. You have proven campaigns, you have proven funnels, you have proven results. So, hey, you're not doing too well with the amount of leads. Let's roll in maintenance. Let's do 3 months of our core services so we can increase the amount of volume you have, right? So I'll go through all of how to present all of that, but does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And I have a follow-up too. I mean, as we start competing amongst each other, it's going to be rougher and rougher to just offer the gateway service without some sort of distinction or differentiation. And also, we're competing with services like Podium that they get like a $75 million venture capitalism injection to promote themselves. It's you got to offer, I think, some sort of value add or some sort of differentiation to really make this fly. It's all well and good to say, okay, our gateway offer $300, but it gets a little more nuanced than that. Are you going to get?
Yeah, we'll go over that in the demo.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go over that in the demo of how to differentiate yourself. And you're actually not in competition with those big software companies. And we don't recommend you competing with them. We recommend building a hybrid SaaS and agency model, right? We're not saying, I personally don't recommend just doing SaaS alone. Right. And I personally don't recommend just doing professional services alone. I think there is something to the SaaS hybrid, right? Which is you're going to do both, but you're not dependent on the professional services, right? So, and you're agile. As agency owners, we're not necessarily competing with Podium. Now, truly, Howard, the differentiation is going to go back to you as the marketing expert. Right? The prescription that you write for those guys, right, is going to matter more than anything else based on what you know about that industry. So I truly think you should niche down, understand that industry, provide the minimum viable product or services that make sense for them, right? You cannot be anything to everybody with SaaS and think you're going to scale. Right. And the problem is not sales, it's actually fulfillment and account management. It's nearly impossible to maintain all those different variations and keep up with that. So the downsell offer here is going to be the $297. If they're on the way out for some reason, if they need to cancel Facebook ads or Google ads or SEO because it's out of their budget or they don't need any more leads, you still are able to stay close to that revenue line and still be a provider, right? Let's see. I've got a bunch of questions that are in the chat. I'm going to go through all the questions at the very end, but anybody want to unmute yourself and just have a question? Mick, let's go with Mick and Mark. Let's go through some of your questions real quick, and I'm going to then go into the actual demo. And show
all right, Paulson, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Paulson, you say when to sell the SaaS model, to sell it to other agencies. Is it?
No. I'm not saying sell SaaS to other agencies.
Oh, I thought that's
sorry. We're talking about selling SaaS to local businesses.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you're better off running an affiliate model for agencies. They're going to know what high level is pretty quick.
No, I got confused. Sorry, I thought that's what you said. I was going to ask you why not sell it to businesses.
No,
yeah.
No worries. Perfect. Mark and Tim, let's go with yours. Mark, you first.
All right, perfect. I know you guys are rolling out an omnipresent kind of package in the marketplace. Do you think that would work for the maintenance offer?
Of course. You can actually leverage any services in marketplace and not have to deal with any fulfillment at all. We'll just handle all of that for you.
Did you guys announce the pricing for that?
Yeah. It's already, I have a full demo on it already.
Okay.
There was another recording for it, but basically we'll provide websites, SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads, listings, social media management, all for like $1,500.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be it's already, we're about like 6-7 days away from Marketplace 2.0. So those of you that don't know Marketplace existed, in your account, you can go to Marketplace and you can actually leverage your own high-level agency to get fulfillment services done, just so you know. And that's what Mark was talking about. So we have new packages that are being rolled out, mini rush packs, all-in-one omnipresent packages. But that conversation is not relevant to this demo, just so you know. Okay, check that out. There's going to be replays there. Tim, let's go with your question real quick, buddy.
Yes, sir. So if you can just model that the accounts manager $5,500 a month, what will be the job duties and responsibilities?
Onboarding them to the platform.
Basically only that, but all the clients, right?
Yeah. So this brings up a good point, Tim. Do not sell ongoing services as SaaS. The intention for SaaS is to be a do-it-yourself model. It's not a done-with-you model.
Obviously, yes.
Right? But a lot of people make the mistake of running account management and it turns into a consulting relationship all of a sudden. Right? So don't do that. All you're going to provide is just onboarding, base level support. They should be able to self-manage the system that you put together for them. If that's too complex for them, you have too many things in there, or you just simply don't have education around it.
I see.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
I hired Matt for that customer service thing because I'm going forward with the SaaS thing.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
you
Yeah,
can just
there's plenty
$200 a month. It's like done.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys that provides white label services like Matt. We ourselves we're going to provide white label services with SaaS Mode as well to help you onboard clients onto the platform. That whole piece will get easier for you. So your account manager, honestly, Tim, what they should be doing is just making phone calls, making sure people are happy. Even more than technical. The technical stuff should be simple enough for them to adopt. Account management on SaaS is much easier than agency account management, right? You're glorified support versus business strategist, right? It's a different model, right? So I recommend having an account manager at volume. That's going to really help you, especially with these numbers, right? If you were charging $500 a month and charging $500 setup, you can have an integrations person that just sets it all up to make it even easier for your account managers, right? But even at a base level, these numbers are very friendly that we think you guys can run, which is $297 setup and $297 for the platform, right? Your own platform, essentially, right? Let's go. So this is the pricing model that I wanted to entertain with you guys. I think this is very relevant, and this is what we're seeing a lot of people do. Now, who's excited for the demo, right? This presentation is like me talking to you guys as agency owners. Now the demo is going to be Steve and I, right, going through as if Steve is the business prospect, right, the business owner, and I'm going to go through it as if how I would want you guys to present your SaaS. All right, cool. Let me see. I got like 20 messages here.
And you're going to share the deck with us, Paulson?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're going to load it into the help desk so you guys will have it. I'm going to make sure it's a PowerPoint so you guys can edit this, okay? So those of you that don't, I just made this up. The agency on file is an actual neutral brand that we do use. But here's first thing that I want to get with. Everything that I'm going to share with you guys, I don't want you to think this is the all-in-one everything solution. This is me showing you the framework. Take my framework and build upon it. You know your industry more than anybody else, right? And I don't know every industry in the planet. I can get close to about 12, 13, but you know your industry more than anybody else because you live in it, right? So take what I'm sharing with you and, build upon it, right? Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing everything with you guys. Okay, Steve, you ready? Let me make sure.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Steve, just so I know, how long have you been a high-level user?
I don't know, like 3 years.
Oh, man, you're too advanced. You're going to talk back to me in technology language, man. Okay, so let's just go with it. Let's just go with the flow, right? Steve, I just want to, let's just get started. So here in the first slide, one thing I recommend is taking your prospect's logo and throwing it onto the slide. One of the most key important things about SaaS presentations, SaaS demos, you want to make them feel like you customize this presentation for them. Okay, that's one of the biggest things. Agency presentations, you can run your normal templates. SaaS demos, you want to make sure they feel like it's customized to them, right? So here, ideally, what I would do is research Steve's business, and I would literally throw his logo on here, right? So just so you know, Steve, here's how the call is going to go. I appreciate your time. I need about 20 minutes, and I want to just help you understand what we're doing for your industry, and let's see if we can be a good fit. Okay. Are there anybody else that should join the call?
Nope, just me. I'm the sole decision maker.
Okay, perfect. How did you find out about us?
My buddy recommended me.
Who's your buddy? Is he already using this?
No, he said you should check it out though.
Okay, cool. So typically when I get on a call, what I want to do is just share with you everything that I have, and I'm going to let you make the decisions for your business of whether it makes sense for us to move forward. Okay, so I want to keep this very simple with you. Help me understand your business a little bit. How long have you been in this industry? What's your story, man? You guys, are you married, family? How many employees do you have? What's going on in life over there?
You want me to get into that for real?
Yeah.
I own a small business. I've been running it for a couple of years, and we do HVAC, and it's just trying to get the business up and going. I'm talking about a client, what they'd say, and I got 3 or 4 guys, got a couple installation teams, and just trying to get the business up and running, man. And I want to make things smoother and easier. It seems like we got a hot mess over here.
Okay, sounds good. I want to get into some of the details of how you run your business, and I want to really understand your model a little bit. But just to give you an overview of how our call is going to go, typically we do a strategy session, an intro call, and then we'll talk about building out the system and then training and things like that. Today, what I want to do is just do a strategy session with you and just give you an idea of our full system. Okay. So Steve, typically when I talk to folks in the HVAC industry, let's just go with that as an example. And for those of you that are watching, last time I did a sales training, I did it from the context of our own agency of how we do presentations. And I realized that didn't help a lot of you because we were too advanced, right? I'm coming in and saying, hey, we have 460 plus clients. We're managing close to, multiple millions of dollars in ad spend. We have this many employees. I realized a lot of you cannot come and just say those stories. So I'm going to play my cards as if I am brand new to the industry with less than 5 clients. Okay, fair enough. All right. So Steve, when I talk to HVAC business owners like yourself, I typically see 4 scenarios. I want you to help me kind of understand where your business is today, right? Typically, the 4 that I see are, they're the startups. They have a great start and they just don't know what to do next, right? Then you have the plateaued businesses. They're kind of stuck in the same position. They get to about 50 to 100 grand and they don't really go anywhere further from there. And then you have the up and downer. They just have high turnover. They lack a few systems, but they're just fluctuate. They go from 50 to 100, 150, back to 25, then back to 50, back to 100, back to 25. It's just not consistent numbers. And then you have the should-have-beens, and they just face, a bunch of franchise competition. They missed out the boat on their area and location. Help me kind of understand your scenario, Steve.
Yeah, I'm in the startup mode. Like I said, I've been for 3 years, and it's really just trying to get consistent leads in there, make sure I'm booking appointments, and that's chasing leads has been a nightmare.
Okay, so help me understand your startup. How long have you guys been in the industry? What made you start this business altogether?
Yeah, I've been doing HVAC for 11 years. 3 years ago, I finally go, you know what? Let me do my own shop, and and we're doing okay. We're about 500,000 a year total gross sales. So it's not where I want it to be. I'd love to be doing 2 million this year.
Okay.
But that's where we are right now.
Yeah, And Steve, I'm glad you brought up the numbers, but I want to visit the numbers with you after we talk about the full system and see if it makes sense.
Sure.
But overall, what is your volume like? I mean, how many service jobs do you guys do? How many service techs do you have? How many units are you normally pushing? Help me kind of understand your operational efficiency.
Sure. So I've got like I said, I got about 5 guys on my team.
Okay.
And that's one install team, which is 2 people. I've got 2 service techs. All right.
Okay.
They do sales as well, sales and service and maintenance. And then there's me.
Okay. Who handles the sales calls?
Myself and both my service techs.
Okay. Perfect.
We're doing about 1 or 2 installs a week.
Okay, so you're actually doing really well for a startup. If you're already hitting close to $500,000 a year and you have 5 people, and that's a pretty lean team, those are great numbers. Now, let's talk about how we can get you to that 2 million mark. And I just want to share some of the systems with you. I'm going to skip over this slide because we really talked about it already. And I want to go into, giving you the trust factor of why you should listen to us. Okay. Just so you know, Steve, full transparency, we're pretty new in the industry. Okay. What we realized is this industry altogether is a bit outdated in how they run their operations. And we put together a system that's going to really change the way people do business here. Okay. So we have brand new technology that we built. We have an all-in-one solution for sales, marketing, and operations. And at a core, we are result first oriented business, then profit second. We do care about the relationship we build with you. And in all honesty, we just feel like the new kids on the block with no experience. Okay. But here's what I want to do. I showed the system to about 3 other business owners just like you, and they were all raving fans of it. Okay. We vetted this system that we have and we're able to drive results. So you're going to be one of the first ones to really take a look at this and adopt it and be one of the early pioneers of this. Okay. So just full transparency, we're fairly new in the HVAC space. We've got a few clients. They're excited about what we're providing and they're figuring out how they can partner up with us in the long term. Okay. Now there's 3 scenarios that I want to talk to you about. Right. Okay. And these are all 3 things that I want to address, right? Most business owners that we're facing today in the space, they typically self-manage their business operations. They don't have a full automated system of any kind or marketing or sales. Nothing is really connected to each other and none of them are talking to each other. Everything is really just dependent on the discipline of that business owner. Help me understand what you have set up today.
Currently, we use House Call Pro for our servicing of our clients. So
what does that do for you? What solution does that provide?
Oh, someone says, "Hey, I need a quote for a new air conditioning system." Great, we'll go ahead and put it into House Call Pro. We run our whole business on House Call Pro.
Okay, so with House Call Pro, what do you normally get? Is it like an invoicing quote system, or is it where you can interact and track of sales? I need to understand more than just what you get out of it at the end of the day. I want to understand how you operate in that system, right? How many people use it? Is it just you? How many quotes do you guys send out? Help me understand House Call Pro a little bit.
Yeah, so basically we run our entire business off of House Call Pro. House Call Pro is a dispatching system. It's a client management system. It's our CRM for the home industry, the home contractor space. Okay, so a lot of home contractors use either that or Service Titan, but we use House Call Pro because it's much more affordable. And we run our whole, but every one of our users is on it. They have to be on it. When they go out to a site, they're going to log into their location and they're going to take a look at, they're going to pull up the client's information. Oh, we were out here 6 months ago. Okay, great. What did we do? Oh, we did this, we did this, we did this. Okay, great. Now I'm going to go ahead and give him a quote. I'm going to put together a quote on this thing. Going to give it to him. He's going to sign it. Boom. We're going to go ahead and install it, do what we got to do.
Yeah, so that's a great scenario for you to convert a lead that's already in front of you, right? You're telling me you are on site, got your iPad open, you're ready to just log into House Call Pro. You're able to populate a quote right then and there and hand that over to your client. But what happens before your service tech is on site? What system do you have in place today that's helping you get your business to that point of sale?
Typically, we got a couple different things. I mean, as far as marketing is concerned, we'll do something like, word of mouth referrals. Sometimes we do some Facebook ads. We'll get a bunch of leads in, and the company will put them on a spreadsheet for us, or my front desk will start calling them, and then they'll call them and we'll try to book and schedule appointments. We do some Google AdWords, and we do some other stuff. Radio,
okay, perfect.
A little bit of radio every once in a while, mostly postcards.
Perfect. So what I want to talk to you about is how are we going to get more service techs on site ready to jump on House Call Pro with quotes? How do we get your business to the point where you have enough volume before to the point of them being on site? Does that make sense? Essentially what I want to do is help you look at the system at a pre-close level, right? How do we track old leads? How do we bring them in? How do we get them to a point where your service guys can just jump on House Call Pro, roll out the quotes? But what happens before that? And that's what I want to talk to you about, okay? Typically, business owners that we come across, they have an issue of what you just mentioned. You're running Facebook ads, Google ads, texting, emailing, word of mouth, all these different things, but there's no system that's tracking all of that. Right? It's really just House Call Pro, meaning anybody that already are ready to close is all you really talk to. So you have this huge revenue that you're missing way before that can bring some efficiency. Okay, so I want to kind of talk to you about that. Now, here's a framework, Steve, that I want you to look at. Okay, for those of you that remember the sales demo for the agency, right? The agency services. I've taken the same framework and I've rebuilt the phases. Okay. So review and compare with the old demo that I've shared for agency services. So Steve, here's the thing. I want to show you how you can bring business with or without advertising dollars. Okay. You've mentioned you're running Facebook ads, Google ads. Great. You're ahead of the curve against a lot of other competition around you. So you already have robust marketing activities happening. Okay. You already have paid ads. You already have organic. Things are happening, right? What I'm going to do for you, Steve, is dial a system in where we can put all the conversations in one place. We're going to track all those tickets, your potential tickets. So you could close deals on House Call Pro. We don't have to make any changes to that, but I want to add on a system so your House Call Pro is much more efficient, right? So we're going to be able to track your tickets until they get to House Call Pro. And then I also want to do something that's different. Now, I don't know if House Call Pro does this. I want to build in a follow-up system where the burden is not on you or your staff to follow up on these leads. Okay, we're going to build it in where we're going to handle a whole lot of that for you. Now, the cool thing is we're going to have it all in one place, like I told you. It's going to also have the capability for you to be able to self-manage it yourself. The cool thing is you don't have to depend on an ad agency to do this. Once we build this out, we'll show you how to use it. You can self-manage it. You can train your team how to do this, right? And you're going to have the ability to remarket to all those leads that ever engage with you that's not on House Call Pro yet, right? And then on top of that, as a bonus, we do care about your brand reputation, right? So I'm going to show you how to track your reviews and the activities of your customers. Like, what are they actually saying about your services, right? Now, let me just simplify this down a little bit, right? Based on this framework I'm showing you, Steve, here's how I'm looking at it. You have three core family members that you cannot ignore in business. Okay, and that's because we vetted the system out with 3 other business owners just like you, and they all said the same thing. And that's why we're building this out for you this particular way. You have inbound flow, which means you already have paid advertising. You can keep your advertising vendors, your marketing agencies. It doesn't really matter for us whether you use us for the paid advertising. If you have something working, keep them, right? But what I want you to do is actually track the flow all in one place. If you don't have paid advertising, I recommend you throwing up a chat system on your website. I can install that for you, and then we'll capture the organic leads at least until you start investing into your own paid advertising, right? So whether it's organic or paid, we have inbound flow coming into the system. The leads are coming in, right? The second component, the second core family member that you cannot ignore, Steve, is conversations. It's only two things. We'll show you how to manually manage those conversations, and we can also show you how to automate those conversations. You guys notice I didn't talk about no two-way texting, no voice drops, no emails, no nothing. I don't want to get into the technical weed of this with that client, right? Because I still have to actually show them the system, right? At that point, I'm going to visit with them of all the different features that's relevant for them. But here, I'm just going to give them macro framework of what I'm going to give them. Inbound flow, you also get conversations, and also will help you manage your reputation. Does that make sense for you, Steve?
Yeah, it does. We already have a company we use for our reputation that seems to be working pretty good right now. So but yeah, the other two would work for us.
Perfect. Yeah. So this goes back to what you said earlier, Steve. You have all these pieces working individually, independently, without these systems talking to each other, right? And that's where the whole business is dependent on one person on performance. If you want to get to that 2 million mark, you need to have a homogeneous system that's all communicating with each other, and you're able to actually bring on staff for yourself, Steve, and you're not managing this operation. I want you to get to a point, I mean, it's January, let's say Q2, if everything makes sense, I want to get you to a point where you can hire an operations person.
Okay, I didn't even understand homogeneous system.
A system that is synchronized across the board, right?
Okay.
A system that is dependently working. They're not independently working. Most of these businesses, guys, they're going to have some sort of a, BS reviews package with some sort of a $50 package somewhere, right?
Right.
They're going to have a niche-oriented texting system, right? They're going to have maybe a funnels account somewhere, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have maybe a phone dialer. None of these systems are talking to each other. So your idea is to gravitate them to a synchronized system. Hey, I can provide a all-in-one solution, right? How much are you paying for reviews? How much are you paying for XYZ? So don't be afraid of the fact that they're already doing something similar. We know for a fact, unless they're on high level, none of those things are being done together.
Right.
And that's where your advantage is as a software provider, right?
Cool.
So here's the thing. Let's do a walkthrough of the system. Would that make sense? Is there anything that is a red flag for you, Steve? Like, I just want to make sure we're respecting each other's time. And I know we're about 10 minutes into the conversation. Before I go through a walkthrough of the system, is there anything you can think of that you want to share?
No, so far so good.
Okay. How many people typically manage all these pieces for you, the sales, the marketing, and the operations? I know you said you're the one running the show, but how many staff members do you have that's handling?
Well, there's going to be, if we're all doing sales and we're out there and, we're in someone's home and they give us a referral, oh, my sister, well, you should call my sister. Okay, well, we got to take that information. We got to do something with that information, right? So it's myself, my two sales guys, and then my girl who answers the phone.
Okay. How do you track of their activities today?
A little bit through House Call Pro, but as far as tracking their activities, I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Like, how do you keep track of what they do outside of House Call Pro? Because from what you shared with me, Steve, House Call Pro tracks what happens at the end of the sales cycle, right? They're ready. They're on site.
It's actually at the beginning of the appointment. Hey, we got an appointment to go to. Great. Are we setting an appointment?
Right.
Boom. That's where it happens.
Right. If somebody's ready to go with an appointment, they're on the end of the sales cycle.
Okay, I see what you're saying. End of the sales cycle, not of the entire cycle, but the sales cycle.
Correct. That prospect found you 6 months ago.
Right.
Aunt Betty told them about your HVAC services. 2 weeks ago, they also saw a review on a Facebook group, and then they reached out to you, your front desk person, got the appointment set up for your service guys to now be able to go into House Call Pro and say, oh, I'm ready to go. they're very deep into the sales cycle. But what I want to do is see if you have a capability of tracking activities of how they came into your business yet.
No,
Right?
no,
Okay.
for sure not.
Okay.
Are
So
you
that's
kidding
why
me? There's not a chance.
this is exactly why the other three business owners that I spoke with was really interested in what we built out. Okay. So let's do a quick walkthrough. Okay. So when you log into the system, you're going to have a financial dashboard right out of the gate. Okay, guys, ignore all these numbers. It's one of our old accounts. Okay, but as soon as you log in, Steve, here's what happens. You have a financial dashboard that tells you the health of your business. Okay, you're able to keep this information divided among your users. So let's say you have 3 others that are also managing this. If you don't want them to see everything, we can turn that off for you. But at the end of the day, the first thing that's very important is you get a health check of your business. Okay, just to quickly run down, it keeps track of your opportunities, the size of your pipelines, and also going back to what I said earlier, we're able to track your reviews. Right now, this may seem like a bit clustered for you with a lot of information. I'm able to simplify this dashboard down for you. And what I want you to be able to do is, as soon as you're done with your workout in the morning, you're ready to go with your business day, you're able to just come right into the dashboard and really understand numbers right out of the gate. I don't know about you, but numbers is what is going to dictate the health of your business, right? So the first things first, you get the dashboard. Really, the only 2 other things that I want you to really understand is we have something called the opportunities board. Okay, I created this pipeline for you guys. Here, based on what you said, let's just add a number, right? HVAC. Why is this? Okay, cool.
Name. It's like contact name right there. You're in.
You're right. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff in here. Right? So let's say we manually order something here or put an order here. What's happening is we have different phases set up based on what we know about your industry, right? We understand before your tickets get to House Call Pro, there is a sales cycle, and that sales cycle has phases, right? In these phases, you're able to track your tickets. Right now, you don't have any tracking that's happening, and we're able to also track it per activities of your service techs, right? So I can come in here and say, this is assigned to Paulson, right? The value of this ticket is, value of this ticket is 5,500, right? This came from Facebook ads, right? I'm able to really see all the different pieces all in one, right? So let's see if I could update that. So at the end of the day, Steve, here's what I want you to know. We're able to track your tickets way before your service techs are ready to go with House Call Pro. In these tickets, right, they're in different phases. Now, here's something that I want you to pay attention to, right? Every single phase, going back to the conversations piece, we're able to set up automated messages with text, email, voice drops, whatever you want, and handle a lot of these conversations for you. So all you have to do is really come into the point of appointments. We can integrate that wherever you want to. We can, glue it over to House Call Pro at that point if you want to. Sometimes what I don't want to do is have tickets come over to House Call Pro and they're not actually ready to go for sales, right? They're just tire kickers. They just want a quote. Here, we're able to verify how good that quote is through text messages, right? Emails, and all those other items, right? So every single phase, as I move them across, we will set up automated conversations to interact with those potential leads, and you don't even have to have a big sales system. We will just lift this all for you, right? This is going to change the way you do business because you're able to track sales, you're able to manage sales, and you're also able to track your staff who are in sales activities. Okay. The other piece that I want you to consider here is conversations themselves, right? Right. Looks like somebody's waiting in the actual waiting room here. But anyways, we're able to look at all the conversations on an inbox style, right? We're able to just send a text message here, right? Dude, you are missing the SaaS presentation. Right? Right? I can send a text message there, right? Right? I can send an email there. Now, with the automated system, here's something that I want to kind of show you. Steve, we have the ability to pre-build all this together with you when we go into onboarding and build messages for each phase. We can do that with text. We can do that with email. We can do that with voicemail. We can even follow up one more time with the SMS text message. Right now, I don't know about you, but most people are on their phones. This system will automate all of that for you. So that way, all you have to do is know that your leads are being handled. All you have to do is really just jump onto House Call Pro, knowing that there's another system handling sales for you, tracking marketing, and bringing much more ease to your operation. Right? So that's
Okay,
my
sounds good.
walkthrough. That's my walkthrough of the system. Any questions? We're about wrapped up. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Any questions, Steve? Like, does this make sense? You know, at the end of the day, here's what we want you to achieve.
It sounds good on paper. Here's what happened. It sounds good on paper. I have my front desk person's got to learn it, and then my 2 service techs got to learn it. Of course, I have to learn it too in order for it to junk in, junk out, right? So we have to learn it in order for the thing to be good. What's the learning curve on this? How long is it going to take for us to learn?
Well, for you, there's no learning curve because we're going to provide training for you, right?
Okay.
Our launch plan is going to be pretty simple. Right now, we're on the strategy session.
Mm-hmm.
We already had an intro call. We'll build out the system customized to you. And then we'll schedule a training session where we jump on with your staff. We have account managers that will just jump on a Zoom call with you as many times as you need and make sure you're fully trained. Okay. Okay. Honestly, in about a week time, we'll be able to start tracking your sales, honestly, and tracking your marketing and also tracking your operations of what's actually happening on the field. Now, robust marketing activities, that's something that I want to also just quickly highlight, Steve. I know you said you're running Facebook ads and Google ads. How's that working out for you?
It's working out okay. I mean,
how many leads do you get a week?
I don't know. I probably get a lead a day from the Facebook leads.
Okay, so you get about 25 leads a month?
Yeah, about that.
How is that lead transferred over to you? Where is it going?
Right now it just goes to a spreadsheet,
okay.
And then my front desk calls them.
Cool. Are you happy with your marketing professionals?
I mean, they're doing all right. I mean, I don't know. I wish we'd get more appointments. For some reason, they give us the leads, and then the whole chase starts. We got to chase these leads down. And it's like, oh my God, yeah. Oh
so
gosh.
What we probably should do here is take those leads and run it through this system, so you don't have to track all that and follow up all by yourself manually. Okay, that's a critical mistake because you're just dependent on yourself, taking 2-hour lunch breaks. Nobody's following up with anything. It's just not consistent. So I recommend if you want to keep your marketing company, do that. Not a problem. Run those leads through the system. That's going to be consistent for you. It's going to be more consistent than a human being managing all these sales conversations.
I like it. My front desk tells me she's calling those leads, but it seems like, we don't get any appointments from it. So will this track the calls too?
It absolutely will. And matter of fact, you can even use it as a training platform for sales. Like, we will record the calls in here for you. You and your staff can actually jump on a training session and just listen to the calls if you want to. So yeah, we can throw that in. along with the three core families I talked about, which is inbound flow, conversations, and reputation management, right? So along with that, if you want call recording, we can throw that in there. If it's a true need, right? I don't want you to get drowned in all the features and things. I want to really focus in on the efficiency of your business, right?
Great. How much is all this going to cost me?
Well, I'm glad you asked about the numbers. And here's the two options I have. For you to go from 500,000 annually to 2 million, we have two options. It's pretty simple. You can buy the system for $297. It's got a one-time setup fee of $297 on top of that. You self-manage everything. We can support you on account management. We'll help you migrate over and start tracking true health of your business. The other option is you get rid of your marketing company and we can enroll you into our Facebook ads and leads and everything. On top of the system, we can do all of that for $1,597.
If I use you guys for the top one right there and I continue to use my existing marketing, I can still send my leads over to the system, right?
100%. But currently, what are you spending for your marketing agency?
I don't know. It's like $1,500 a month for their fee, and then I don't know, probably about $1,000 a month for ads.
Okay, so you already are paying $1,500 on top of that. Now you're gonna have to pay $297 on top of that. That puts you at $1,897, right? It's more cost effective for us to just handle all of that for you at $1,597. Matter of fact, Steve, if you want to get started today, I'll just wipe out the management fee for the first month. You're gonna have to pay for the system though.
So when you say management fee, is that which $297 is that, or doesn't matter? It says no setup fee. So is it the setup fee or the management fee there?
Yeah, correct. So management fee is what I'm talking about. It includes our marketing program. So if you want to enroll in the marketing program and keep the system, it's going to be $1,597. If you just want the system, it's $297.
Got it. Because you're charging $1,300 for your services, right?
Exactly. So instead of you paying $1,500, you can lower your costs on marketing altogether to $1,300.
Sure.
Plus, you get a follow-up system instead of Joe Schmo's Excel sheet that you're hoping for.
Well, that sounds great. I got to check with my team. They've been doing my Facebook ads for a while now, and I don't know if I'm in a contract or not. I'll have to check that.
I think that's fair. I mean, just like what you said, you want to be respectful to their conversation. I'm happy to have a conversation with them and help them adopt if you want me to, right? If you want us to take over and you feel like you're going to end that relationship anyway, then we can just do a full-on, full-stack management. Let me just map out and detail out what's included in both of these options. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Here's what it looks like. Option 1 is just the system. Option 2 is full-stack marketing and the sales side. Right? Option 1, you're just going to get the web chat from us, the sales conversations and management, right? Review system comes with texting, email, voice drops, and also you have the tracking dashboard. You're going to get a good overview of your health of your business just with the dashboard, right? All that together normally would have been $1,475 for the full operational system. We have it for $297, one-time setup fee of $297 as well. So right out of the gate, it's going to be close to $500 for the first month. Then after that, it's just $297 rest of the way. If you
how many emails and voice drops and texts do I get a month?
Typically, most local business owners don't have a threshold issue there. If you, let's say you get into hundreds of thousands, at that point, we can have another conversation. But let's look at the traffic. You're telling me you have 25 leads a month. You're not even.
Well, my existing customer base is about 15,000.
Okay, that's fine. That won't be much of an issue.
Okay, just so you know, it's an issue.
Well,
Between
there's a threshold that you're going to be able to put with your customers.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
So
that's good to hear.
yeah, so it's not going to be an issue moving forward. But regardless, if they have a 15,000 member list, what I
Mhm.
would probably do is sell them on the marketing piece and say, hey, we'll go ahead and reactivate some of those old leads on top of what we're providing. We can right away launch with 2 campaigns, right? So I would push them to the 1597 if they have massive existing lists. Normally, Steve, they never attract a list of any kind. They don't have anything.
Right. No, I do have some guys that are doing that.
So guys, these are the 2 options that I present. Option 2, full marketing with the system. Option 1, just the system.
And option 2, walk me through the different items. I understand, but paid
It's
ads for
actually,
inbound.
yeah, it's actually the same thing. Only thing that's different is going to be paid ads and funnels.
Okay, got it. Paid ads go to 1,300 instead of 1,500.
Well, this is the normal fee.
Oh,
that I
got you.
charge.
Normal price up top. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is my stack slide, right? I'm
Got
doing
it,
a
got it,
double
got it.
stack, right?
Right.
2,800 is what I would normally charge, Steve.
Mhm.
But today it's just 1,597. That includes the system,
Sweet.
right? When it comes to launch plan, this is what my plan would look like. Over the next 5-7 days, we would go ahead and build out your system. And then once that's done, we'll set up training. And then it's just a matter of tracking your numbers. Thanks for being a good sport, Steve. I appreciate you. So let's go through a lot of the Q&As, right? Based on this model, what were some of the bigger takeaways for you guys? Let me unmute everybody here. Let's see, allow them to unmute. Yeah, let's go through some of you and some of your takeaways. What are some questions you have? I see there's about 50 comments on the chat. I prefer, instead of me spending time just reading through all this chat, I prefer you just unmute yourself and just ask the questions.
I have a question on the fees for the Twilio and the Twilio fees. You're including that in the SaaS offer, or is that part of the upgrade to the SaaS?
I do. What do you mean by upgrade to the SaaS?
How you could upgrade in a high level to the next tier where you could modify the Twilio spend and stuff like that.
You're talking about Pro. Agency Pro? Isn't that what you're talking about,
Pro.
George?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about it, George?
So my question is the 297 model, because I'm doing this right now because I did a 10-day thing. So I have like 4 people that I'm running through the program right now and some more on there. So, but I'm just charging the Twilio fees like separately. Once they're done.
In the pro plan, you'll be able to put a threshold of saying, hey, I want to charge 5% over my normal Twilio fees, and it'll go straight to them. So if you want to be charging Twilio expense, you want to present that, right? And you'll just say, hey, refill your system once a quarter is going to cost you $100 once a quarter outside of these fees. That's going to just cover for the text messages. So just so you know, this system is like the iPhone. You still got to pay AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile to run the text messages, right? So just like that, once a quarter, there'll be a charge of $100 to you, Steve. And that's how I would present it to him if I'm going to charge him for Twilio. But
What's that feature called? What's that feature called that you're talking about? The Twilio, they can use their own Twilio, or we can have a master Twilio account and then we can mark it up.
Yes.
What's that feature called?
It's going to be one of the features in the Pro plan.
When will that be available? That thing is, I'm already excited about that.
It's going to be available pretty soon. It's going to be one of the first ones. So Twilio rebilling is going to be out, right? Guys, refrain from asking me questions on what's going to come through SaaS, right? I want to focus on the demo. Like I want to focus on the demo, just so you know, right? But George, you'll be able to put a percentage and say, hey, I want to charge 20% more. I want to charge 50%, 100%, 5%. You'll be able to charge them on top of that. But if I were to present that in an offer, I would say it's $297 monthly. And then the text message charge based on your usage, we just bill it once a quarter.
Okay.
Right. And normally it's not going to be more than $100 a month, right?
And I don't want to go in the rabbit hole, but what I've been doing is I just get their credit card and I create a sub account and it just charges their card.
Exactly. So here we're going to be able to get to a point where we're going to have a wallet system actually where they prepay their account,
Okay.
right? Just like how you prepay Twilio, they'll be able to prepay essentially high level. And then from that amount, it'll take out their usage, right?
Okay.
Based on the percentage you
Okay.
set.
Because
Right?
this is kind of like the way
it'll make it much easier. It'll be much easier once the SaaS
Okay.
mode comes out.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Right now you're doing it the hard way, which is you're setting up everything manually, having to manage subscriptions, having to manage billing, having to manage everything else and support them. So once SaaS comes out, you'll be able to do the Twilio rebilling, manage your own subscriptions, enable features that you want them to, pre-build systems in there if you want to. I've seen most of it. It's going through Q&A, just so you know. It's going to be really, really nice for all of you. Right? So,
Cool.
Hey, Paulson?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Are you sending this presentation to us via email for anyone that came to the webinar?
No, we're going to load it into, so I'm going to load the actual demo, and I'm going to also load the actual, this interaction we had, right? Into the help desk. So if you don't know,
cool.
The help desk exists. So it's help.gohighlevel.com.
Oh, very familiar.
Yeah, you go straight down to case studies and sales trainings, right?
Cool.
In there, we literally have everything that we do formally as a presentation in there loaded.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else you want to unmute and let's go through some interactions, guys. Help me help you.
I got a question for you, Paulson. I don't know.
Go for it, Steve.
Thanks. I've been thinking about this for a little while, and I'm wondering, in your gateway offer and your downsell offer, how are you preloading it with your super sexy snapshot that's designed out for their industry, or are you keeping it blank canvas so they fall on their face when they say, oh yeah, no, hey, go at it on your own, good luck there, hands off?
No, never do that. Never do the latter. Never. You want to give them the prescription that makes sense for that industry. They should be able to just log in and manage leads. And so you do have to pre-build it. You do have to pre-build it.
Okay. In that case then as well, would you also, and I know this will apply differently for different industries, but would you say to include funnels and pages and stuff in that? Like never, hey? I would assume that's probably
minimum
beyond your small
product.
business owner.
Yeah. Minimum viable product, right? Guess what's the problem of funnels, right? Who's going to build this thing?
Yeah,
they're going to build this thing. If they build the wrong thing, who's responsible for performance?
Yeah. You got more work on the back end to be your support team or whoever's doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's different if you pre-build it, right? So here's the thing: the offer stack, the feature stack, right? I mentioned to you guys back. Let me see if I can find the slides real quick. What I wanted to just share with you, Stephen, real quick, is the idea that your feature stack is going to be based on your strength in the industry. Right. So for you, as long as you stay in the lane of do-it-yourself model, you're good to go. Right. Never cross the line and turn it into a done with you model. So the more features you roll out, the more odd chance you're going to go into the done with you model.
Yeah, and then you're picking up work on the back end.
You will pick up work on the back end for support. And you may not face it out the gate in the front, but it's going to be the account management side. They're going to come back and say, oh, this stupid thing wasn't working. What happened here? Is this what you guys do for all the other accounts? So really templatize your formula, but your formula should be based very extensively on what you think is best for them, right? So what industry do you serve, Steve?
Chiropractors.
Oh, perfect. So they don't need anything more than the dashboard, conversations, the opportunities board. If you throw in a landing page in there for some of their services, let's say they have $21 adjustment, some holistic program, and yada, something else, right? If you throw in something that could just be a bonus. Oh, chiropractor XYZ, you don't have a website? Hey, listen, we already have some pre-built stuff that we already have ready to go. Why don't we just roll in one of your websites? We'll just
What
handle
about
that
like
for you.
triggers and campaigns as well? Like that's the thing that I was always
That's
debating about with this as well. Like, do you
yeah.
just say,
So
hey, we handle that on the back end by us,
yeah,
we just manage that on our own?
yeah. So when we get to this piece, right? This building out system piece, you want to make sure they have the option of manual and automated. Manual shouldn't be anything more than just what's available in the inbox, right? They want to be able to send a text message, they want to be able to send an email, nothing more.
Okay.
Keep it simple. The automated side, you can come in and say, hey, I'll pre-build your campaigns, your high-level campaigns, right? You can have a 5-step piece, but that's pre-built. You shouldn't have to customize that for every account.
No, but is it just like assuming you just build it out the one time and then say like, this is the way your system works, baby. This is it forever.
Well,
Unless
here's the
they
thing.
really bring you up and then you can charge them for a change order or something.
Here's what I would do. Hey, chiropractor, what are the different sales cycles? What are the different phases in your sales cycle? Let's build some text campaigns and email campaigns, some voice drop campaigns for each one of these phases. It'll be pre-built. Once it's built, you're ready to go. Anytime you drag, it'll deactivate and reactivate the next campaigns, right? We know that internally.
Yeah.
Right. And that's about the extent of that setup, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. Haven't worked with too many other than like just a couple right now, and I just haven't had enough experience with it to be like, okay, are they asking for lots of change orders on that, or what if they want to customize their messaging or triggers? Nothing like that. Is that you worked with dentists for so long, like that just doesn't happen? Hey, they're just like,
yeah, I used to, yeah, from 2014 to 18, I did, but back then I used Active Campaign, right? So I would just pre-build the sequences for each service line, and that was it. It was all one-way texting as well. So there was no interactions, there's no conversations management except for what's there. It was very cookie cutter, right? So here, all they need to do is just come in here. Hey, chiropractor, in the morning when you wake up, this is all I want you to do. Log in, come to this conversations piece, answer people, and mark as on read or unread. Job number 1. Number 2, whenever you come to this opportunities board, make sure you're dragging this across at an updated manner. You don't want to be delayed on this because people are getting messages based on each one of these phases. Right? That's it.
All right, easy enough. I wouldn't want to give them anything they could break then. So conversations, triggers are out.
You're not selling SaaS to an agency, right? You're not. If you were to sell it as, if you were to do affiliate sales, right? Then you want to give them freedom of like, hey, this is what I'm setting up. This is what you can do. The user knowledge base is much higher, right? So I would keep it as simple as I possibly can for business owners.
Cool, man.
So just to be clear, what you just presented to me for the HVAC was dashboards, opportunities, conversations, reviews.
Well, reviews is something you're not ongoingly manage. All you're saying is, hey, listen, here you can track all your reviews. In the SaaS mode, you'll be able to actually reply to those reviews through the system. Side note, but regardless, there's nothing more extensive than that. If you get started and you don't have any reviews, we can run a reviews campaign for you. Right? Run a high-level campaign if you want them to. If they have a list, Steve, you said you have a 15,000 list. Sure, can we just take 1,000 people in there and just run a quick campaign to get you some reviews in the beginning? That's it. Manage the rest as you go.
But we do turn on the marketing button as well, right? I mean, for their account.
Well, in the SaaS plan, you'll be able to distinctively decide which sub features you can turn on, not just the whole section.
Okay, because I'm over here looking at the snapshot of the features right now, and there's like 20 things you can turn on and turn off, and you're saying less is best.
100%. 100%. And I want to remember, I told you guys from the get-go, I want to, talk to them like they're children in a respectful way. They're not living in our world of technology, right? They need to simply understand what it is. Hey, listen, I can help you track what's going on in your business, manage your conversations that's happening with potential customers, manage your reputation, and we can keep track of your staff. That's what I'm selling you. Right?
Say it
It's
one more time. You said it perfectly, but I heard it 3 times and I still didn't remember. Say it one more time.
Well, here's the thing. You're running a great, healthy business. I'll be able to put in a system to track what's going on operationally, right? We'll help you manage your staff. We'll help you manage tickets. We'll help you close deals, right? It's you know, it's you got to simplify the linguistic language like all together with SaaS. Biggest mistake is, the biggest mistake I've seen people make on the SaaS presentation is you're trying to prove that you have technology expertise to somebody who doesn't care about technology. If I'm talking to Kara Owens and I know that she's an elite technology person and she's running a healthy business when it comes to marketing and agency, I'm going to talk to Kara as if she understands the world of technology, right? But if I go to Steve Young and he's the business owner and he doesn't live in this world of technology, I'm going to talk to him in his niche language, right? Like Steven, you're on chiropractor. I would talk to them like, hey, how did you map out your care? What does your care look like? What are you passionate about with your client, patients, right? What's the outlook of your practice over the next 2 years? Cool. Does your wife practice with you? How many kids do you have? Like, help me understand who you are. I want to qualify if we can work together. Oh, great. Yeah, we got a system. Yeah, we could talk about that, but help me understand your business, right? I get very like personal and just very elementary in like as if I'm just having a conversation at the bar, drinking some beer with them. Like I just want to be very, very like simple with them, right? Does that help? Any takeaways?
Completely. Thank you.
Yeah, for
Hi,
sure.
Paul.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is
This
that?
is Rosie.
Hey, let me hold on one second. I want you to go to the reactions and do the raise hand button. I see there's about like 4 or 5 people that raised hands, Rosie. Let me go through that in order. Mark, let's go with you, then David, then Adrian, and then Rosie, right? Mark, let's get started with you.
All right,
What were
perfect.
the bigger takeaways for you, and what are some of the things that I can bring clarity?
Well, just as a takeaway, I definitely went pretty much line by line. My first demo pitch of every single thing that's available took me an hour, and they were just so confused. They just didn't want anything to do with it. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. One of the issues that I had was someone that had 4 or 5 different softwares they were using. So my question is, are you better off figuring out a play to replace what they have or fit in where their systems, have holes in?
It's easier to fit in versus replace. When Steve told me that he has House Call Pro, by the way, I don't know anything about them, right? I don't even know what the system does. All I understood from him is it's a system that he has for quote management at the end of the sales cycle. I don't care to imagine what he's going to feel if I tell him to replace House Call Pro. He's going to lose it. Dude, I'm the business owner. I have industry expertise, right? Everybody in my industry is using House Call Pro, whatever, right? Why in the world do you want me to replace this whole thing? Remember, the change management is very delicate, right? In big businesses, change is hard because change, it caters to culture, it caters to leadership style, it also caters to adoption of technology. It's hard to get all those things like right. So if I have the choice of fitting into the combination, that's where I'm going to enter into that ecosystem. If I gradually replace things, that's okay. But I want to enter into the relationship the easiest way possible, right?
So then, well, I was just going to ask, with the setup then, would it make sense to even figure out a way, if it's possible, at least to zap in some features between what they currently have and No.
You're
Too much
talking about professional services
Okay.
at that point, right? I want you to be able to pay me a subscription, log in, that's it. Right? If I go into the idea of Zapier, some of you branding guys, I see Mr. Hussein here, right? Like you guys are doing funnels and websites and social media stuff. That's all great if you can pre-build it and have it ready to go one time, click over, they're ready to go, right? But you don't want to be customizing a CRM system for every single business, every single time over and over. Your account, you're going to have a turnover in your account management and sales, I promise you, right? Imagine your sales guys having to sell all these things that you're agile with. You're thinking as if you're selling agency services, right? So my 100% recommendation is to not customize SaaS for somebody. That's the last thing you want to do. Pre-build your features, pre-build what you're going to deliver them, take it or leave it. That's it. If you don't want this, it doesn't make sense, I honestly think you should go to somebody else. That's it. You're not going to miss out on 297 that hard, right? It's okay. Like it's okay to let a prospect go. They're going to come back. They're going to come back with the system selling, right? Hopefully that helps. Any follow-up to that, Mark?
No, it makes sense to me. I mean, are you better? In my mind, having worked that hard to get that lead even that warmed up, you mentioned letting them go, but would it be better to say like, hey, for $1,000, $2,000, whatever that translates to, upsell to that custom piece, or leave it alone?
Nope. It's not worth the strain, in my opinion, on how you run business. Like the thing is, do you want a self-manageable SaaS model, right? Or do you want to be selling custom? If I'm going to sell the way you sell or what you're suggesting, I would be charging them $10,000 to revamp their entire operational system. Matter of fact, if I could even get equity for 5%, that's worth it for me. Otherwise, it's not even worth the entertainment. Right? And that's because fulfillment gets really ugly. Imagine if you have 25 customers based on these numbers we talked about earlier, and you have 20 that you have to customize one or two different things. Who's going to do all that for $200? I don't care. Like
Right.
no account manager is going to do that. They're gonna rather want to just deal with the relationships, right? So it's really important that you decide selling agency services versus SaaS services. Don't customize one or the other, right? Unless you're going to provide consulting, right? If you're going to turn it into a SaaS consulting, then what you want to do is sell consulting at like 10 grand, take on 2 clients a month. That's it. It's not going to be scalable. You're going to sell time, but it's bigger tickets, right? It's up to you on what you see fit for yourself, right? Let's go to David and then Adrian. David, is it Hebert?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
What were your takeaways, and what are the thoughts that we should kind of go through?
My niche is the cleaning industry. I also own a cleaning business. So
Okay.
I'm sitting back here laughing when he's mentioned House Call Pro and stuff, because our industry does use that. We have about 1,500 members in what we call a coaching club on the opposite side. So we're going to be rolling this into our club.
Sure.
And we've actually took on like 10 beta testers just to see what's going to work and wasn't going to work. Done for you doesn't work unless you're going to sell it separately from the SaaS. And so there has to be a minimum amount of price on what they're going to pay for the additional things.
Yep.
Thankfully, I own a cleaning company, so I totally built it out for me. And then we're shutting off features. So if somebody wants something extra, we're charging them for it, but we already have the template in place to make it work for them. So
Sure.
I wholly agree that it's got to be, if you're going to do something, it's got to be templated, and charge people for anything extra that they might want, or it's just not going to work because it interrupts the flow of onboarding people.
Yeah, I personally don't even think you should get to the point of nickeling and diming them on one more additional feature, because it kills the purpose of streamlined onboarding and management, right?
Okay.
If you think those were important features, I would be selling your SaaS for that much more
Okay.
to everybody and giving them everything that you think is best, right? I don't want to be coming in and saying text messages is $100, funnel is $50, the dashboard is another $75, and then they're having to decide again themselves. You're asking them for another sales cycle, right? And then account management is trying to keep track of, well, Mr. Herbert here wants 3 features out of 5. Mr. Castro wants 2 features out of 5. Steve wants 5 out of 5. Kara wants 2 out of 5. Oh my goodness! Like you're gonna lose it in no time with this much volume, right? Like with 50 clients that you gotta account for in 2 months, it gets really ugly very quickly. So if you think there's an important feature, charge them that much more and just give it to them right out of the front gate, instead of them having to make decisions on, $5 more for triggers, like that won't be healthy.
Right. And we were just trying to do it like in tiers, just to make it easy.
Yeah.
But I guess that's probably obviously you're saying no, and so I'll trust your judgment. You're better.
Yeah, I don't recommend tiers
right.
at all. I don't recommend tiers at all. I just say all in one. This is what I give you.
Right. And
right,
because they're already, besides their monthly subscription for like the software, the only the bump we did now is for us because of the cleaning industry, and what we're doing for them now is we're adding additional templates into their system, like for emailing and stuff, for like special events, yearly, quarterly, whatever, because that's the way, like they would send out postcards quarterly or whatever already. So if they want to become like a member of our template of the month club, then we're charging an additional to add different templates every month into their system.
Yeah, I mean, remember in the beginning phase, I recommend just treading lightly in what you're going to offer and provide. If 6 months down the line, if your SaaS offer evolves based on what you know about that industry, it's much easier to deal with that at that point, because guess what? You have revenue. You have revenue on table that you can just hire on for, right? Or adapt technology, or build in some coding or whatever else, right? In the beginning phases, under 100, SaaS clients, I would go minimum viable product.
Okay.
Yeah. Adrian, let's go with your questions, buddy.
Yeah, hi, Paulson.
Hey.
My main takeaway today is actually the like focusing more on niches, right? Because
100%.
I know other people, they're all over the place, and but as far as niches are concerned, it's really very important for SaaS to be honing down into a very particular niche. And so this is a question somewhat related, because I've been doing chiropractors and therapists, physical therapists. What I've noticed is that people are not too interested in doing this for their existing patients. They're more interested, because of the COVID thing, they're shifting to coaching online and all that good stuff, right? So I'm looking at that at this point. So basically, I'm looking at coaches at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that this is the way I got onto Go High Level. I came through an agency that was recruiting agencies. So basically, I'm a breakaway agency. Lucky I did not really have a lot of activity in the previous white label. In this particular situation, for the SaaS Pro or whatever the plan is when if I decided to take on other agencies for coaching and all that stuff, which is a future what most people are doing anyway, teaching agencies teaching agencies, is there a breakaway agency situation on a software standpoint, like bring their agencies to the Go High Level SaaS or whatever it is?
No, not really, because that's why affiliates are successful, right? They offer something. Each one has to offer something different, right? They figure out their competitive advantage however they do, and you can do the same thing. If I see that a business owner is technically savvy, I'm gonna rather just throw my affiliate link at them and just be like, hey, this is what I think you should just learn about. Right.
Right.
I'm better off catching that versus
That makes
giving
sense.
them some limited features, and then they're like swimming in this like featureless thing. So I would tread on the affiliate side if I have to, and just pass that off and not have to deal with any fulfillment at all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would do. Let's see, there were,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Let me see. I see a bunch of conversations happening. And I think it was Rebecca. I saw some of your messages. Rebecca, if you want to speak on to what you were saying in the chat, let's do that. I do think you have a point. If you go with too many, if your feature combinations is not big enough, that you take the risk of the user not adopting and logging back in, right? After 3 months, they just phase themselves out of the system. So it's always good to give them more as long as it doesn't drown them, right? It's worse to drown them versus not give them enough. So you knowing the industry that you go into, you'll know the balance there.
Yeah, did you want me to speak on that more?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just haven't read through the conversations on chat, to be honest. I just see that you were interacting. So let's, I think you have a point though. So yeah, let's go at it.
Sure. I mean, I'm just a advocate of incentivizing people to take personal responsibility for things. I mean, I've just seen so many people just in every industry and every facet of life, even where people don't want to do the work. They don't want to take personal responsibility for everything. And then it's all your fault and you get to pay for it. And it's like, that's just, that's not how life should be. But unfortunately, that's how a lot of clients are. And so any kind of thing that you can do that kind of counters that, I'm an advocate of. So just one example of that I put in the chat is for example, having a rebate. You could do maybe 100% of the first month or 50% of the first month, whatever it is. Just pick some random amount in terms of a rebate for taking full advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, you have a guarantee where if they are really taking full advantage of the software, they're going to love it and they're not going to cancel on you. And if you can motivate them to actually, be personally involved, then they're locked in for life.
Yeah, and that's going to come in two sides, right? One is the skill of your account management, right? Like their ability to indoctrinate the clients the right way, right? In a healthy way. The other is actually what you talked about is incentivizing them on usage, right? If I can go through and tell you guys how many things you guys don't use at high level, like how many features most agencies don't use, there is a lot, right? So we're constantly figuring out this problem of, okay, attribution reporting. How come only 5% of the user base is actually even logging into that thing, right? Marketplace, for example, you can outsource all your agency services to us and we'll handle it, but less than 5% people even log into Marketplace. So like we deal with the same issue of, extension, like how long can we make sure the clients are happy? How long can you make sure that they're engaged? The hardest thing, guys, like Rebecca said, is not the initial onboarding and migration. It's actually maintenance of relationship. Like if you look at how many clients log back in, you'll understand how they're adopting, right? Most people don't log back in. They don't log back in after a month. After 2 months, you've lost them. So what do you have to do? You really do have to have a account management that's robust where you're engaging with them, right? Remember, when I talk about this model of, let's see here. When I talk about this, right? Let me just share my screen. When I talk about this model of gateway, maintenance, and downsell, you never go gateway to downsell. You never skip over this because guess what? Your account management is going to be responsible for, at some point, moving them over to bigger tickets, right? If your account management never, ever is incentivized, like your account manager should get 5 to 10% commission on expansion revenue. That's the way the industry works. If I have account managers, that's how I do it, right? They need to be incentivized. Now, how are they going to be incentivized? It's going to be through usage when it comes to SaaS. It's going to be through features that make sense and relevantly solve a problem. So, Rebecca, thanks for bringing the point up. It's easier to actually migrate people into SaaS. It's much harder to maintain them in SaaS, right? So you have to get creative of what you know about the industry and how to really, really educate them on what's going on. So thank you for that. Rosie, let's go with you and your questions, and then David.
I'm really new to Go High Level. Within the last week, I've been checking things out. I understand what you're saying about having the sort of the pricing model of $297, and for that amount, if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying kind of a minimum checklist of features that you would include within that.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose an initial question I have, and I was listening to the business owner, as a business owner, I would be saying, well, yeah, sounds like you're going to do a really good job of getting me in and onboarding me and helping me set it up. Mm-hmm. But what other software is out there offering similar features, and for how much? So I would be wanting to do my research of what the competition is, because my initial thought is, to me, that sounds expensive.
What sounds expensive?
$297.
Okay, I totally understand. Let me know when it's a better time frame for you, and I'm out the door. That's it. Like, if that's too high, I'm gone. Like, I'm not gonna go and negotiate that, because this is that number, right? So certain businesses don't qualify. If you look at it from the competitive, let's say Steven is running Cairo CRM, I am running, I don't know, Cairo CRM number 2. People will gravitate towards Steven just because it's Steven. I can be offering the same exact thing, right? Yeah. But a bearded Indian guy is too far away versus Steven right now, because that's what they want, right? Like, there's gonna be differences of who you are, what you do, the education that you provide outside of all this, your branding, like your personal branding, your
added value.
Yeah. So the differentiate, like, honestly, from a feature perspective, we're all on the same boat. There's only 50 features that you can combine with with high level, right? There's not more than that. So we all have the same feature options, right?
Okay.
But the differentiation is going to be you as the brand, right? Your agency, what you provide, your case studies, your results, the way you present it, the way you run your ads, your offers. That is going to be the differentiation. If I were to go buy a Lambo, I'm going to buy it from the dealer that I want it, not because this is the particular Lambo every single time, right? I'm going to decide that. And that's how you differentiate yourself, right? It's your craftiness of the campaigns that you build out for them, right? Steven knows enough about that industry that if I were to enter the Cairo world, he's going to beat me out with the copywriting skill that he has.
Okay.
He knows the sales cycle more than I do and how those patients are interacting with those Kairos. So Rosie, I don't see the differentiation as a true issue. Like, there's a lot of people that have came to me as like, man, this guy is selling $27 lifetime deal, with high level. And I'm like, what's the issue? Like, he's probably just selling the dashboard for $50. That's all they get. Why are you crying about that? That's all that person is doing, and that's a lifetime deal. Sure. That's just the lead magnet offer, right? So the differentiation is going to be how you enter the market, not really what it is that you have in the back pocket, if that makes sense.
Yep. Excellent answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Let's see. Go ahead, buddy.
So I didn't have the raise hand button, so I was a little stuck. But I want to ask, do you discourage a free trial option?
You'll be able to allow a trial within your plans when you create them. So it's not that it's discouraged. Within the SaaS mode features that we roll out, we're going to have a section where you'll be able to set up your plans, your own subscription plans. In there, you'll be able to enable trials or disable trials if you want to.
I got you. Nah, but from the understanding this presentation, I want to do what, high level recommends, and, this SaaS snapshot, this SaaS demo, is very informative. So from this perspective that you introduced and taught us today, do you discourage the free trial option?
I don't necessarily discourage it. I think it needs to be managed properly typically, right? What is the experience that they get in the trial? That's what you got to pay attention to, right? Because we have a 14-day trial with high level, right? The things that happen in those 14 days, oh man, I don't even know where to start, right? People cancel, they come back 6 months later and they totally regret that they canceled. So we feel like, oh man, we failed them and not helped them migrate into the system that we have, right? We know that it's not the system. We all know that, right? Yeah, it's buggy, it's got issues, but ultimately it solves so many problems, right? So how do we help them migrate? So what you want to pay attention to is not really whether you want to run a trial. If you do, what is the experience that they get? And that's going to have to be a differentiator for you, right? So I know you're in the creative space, right? So if you were to run a creative SaaS, right, what does that look like? Hey, instead of you having to build websites, I can just give you a website for $100 a month, right? That's all built up, no management, web chat set up. You can manage conversations with this website. You're selling SaaS, right? Right. So you just got to figure that experience out, and then it would make sense for that industry. You got to niche down. No matter who it is, I recommend you niching down when it comes to SaaS. If you haven't niched down in agency, it's going to be much worse not niching down for SaaS. You're going to end up customizing a bunch of stuff for everybody, and account management is going to have that pressure, and you're not even running high ticket anymore. You're running low ticket to customize everything, right? At least with agency services, you get revenue for the pressure that you have. SaaS, you don't get the revenue, you get retention, right? So yeah, for sure. David, let's go with yours, man. Let's go with your yeah.
All right, great. Paulson, sorry I joined late, but I'm going to watch the replay later. So sorry if you already answered this question. But my question is, how someone can go to the high level website and they could create their own account and self-serve? Is there an automated way we can trigger someone to self-serve on our website? Like they could come to our website and get access to three example features.
Yeah, I think people do that with Zapier, where you can create sub accounts automatically. Yeah. I think people do that. Yeah, they do that with forums. I would recommend probably reaching out to one of the bigger affiliates who has onboarding systems built out. But yeah, it is possible to have automated account creation.
That's great.
Along with that, Paul, how are you processing payment right now? Let's say we're at the end of our sale. How are you going to ask for the sale, and how are you going to process payment?
How are you processing agency services right now?
How am I processing them? I'm using PandaDoc.
That's how I would process them. Right? Until SaaS mode comes out, you'll be able to run all that in there. Until then, you run it the same way you run the agency services.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had somebody ask me about terms and conditions and contracts and all of that. I recommend you guys all revising your normal agency contract and adding a system section that just says, base level ideas of what it is, right? If you go to highlevel.com, at the bottom, there's terms and conditions. That's the terms and conditions we go by. You can use it if you want to, but you need to have your own terms and conditions of what it is. But I recommend you having one set of terms and conditions, not a separate one for agency services and a separate one for SaaS. Combine it all into one long one, where if your sales guys are selling agency services or SaaS services, they can be agile and just get things rolling. Okay. Let's see, Jose.
Hello.
Yep.
How's it going? So I've been here pretty much the whole time. So thank you for doing this.
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of us are absorbing a bunch of the information. So this is kind of like a takeaway plus a question on the side. Sure. I've been having, so first of all, we're going to be launching this specifically for real estate. So my partner, he's been doing this, and he's been able to scale it to 6 figures in a specific industry. And we're going to be joining together with my real estate experience in terms of marketing. So one thing that leads me to my question is, realtors, they're mostly always on the go, right? So they're always doing open houses, they're always doing walkthroughs, they're always pretty much on the run. It's rare when they're sitting in the office all day, etc. So something that we were trying to figure out is, for the app, is there any plans in the future to do some upgrades or updates to that? And if not, is there a way that we would be able to create our own app using the APIs? And if that is possible, or if it's even allowed by your terms and conditions? I'm not sure how that would work.
So I don't know if I understood your question. You have real estate folks that are on the ground, they're mobile, right? They're running around, they're not sitting at a table. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much agents. Most of the time they're meeting up with clients, looking at houses, showing houses open.
Yeah, so right now you're able to create your own custom mobile app if you want to, right?
Right.
That's the option we've provided for that problem, right? What else were you wanting?
So basically, we just wanted to see if there was any more field for customization in terms of how the app would function, and if that would be allowed for us to even have a little bit more control when it comes to developing it.
Yeah, so the SaaS, the Pro plan will come with advanced API. What you have today is going to just stay as is when you're on an agency account, right? But the Pro plan will have much more advanced API. So you want to upgrade to that to have more access to all the new stuff that we're rolling out. That's going to be a whole separate advanced API versus what is available today. Right.
Gotcha.
Then as far as additional customization, every once in a while, bigger businesses would come in or agencies would come in where we bring them in at an enterprise level and they're trying to onboard, 250 sub accounts at once. Right. So we'll do some custom development for businesses like that where they have like a migration or adoption problem, but that's very rare. Not, less than maybe 20, 30 a year. It comes in at that kind of level.
Gotcha. And if it was to get to that level, would there be the possibility of having more flexibility when it comes to getting that mobile app out there?
Yeah, you could, depending on how the development is quoted. So as soon as you have a situation like that, we will custom quote development with you, but it really doesn't go away from the normal housing, the operating system of the platform. It's more about the design and just a couple of aesthetic things. It doesn't really go away from the core things. So I think it's limited. I think it's limited, to be flat honest.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, obviously the functionality is what is the deal breaker here, right? It's what it is selling. We were just trying to figure out if there was any way that we can enhance and focus a little bit more in terms of design and how it works overall.
You want to just get on a call with myself or Robin, and we can basically map out what your development looks like. And sometimes we'll just reject it because it's like too far out there and it doesn't help anybody else. Sometimes we'll entertain it and then we'll quote you on the development. So yeah, sometimes we do that depending on how many accounts you come in with. And guys, for those of you that don't know, we do have a marketplace, right? You are able to outsource Facebook ads to us, Google ads, SEO, websites, funnels, social media management. So as you go into adopting the SaaS model and you don't want to keep up with the agency services, we're able to lift the agency services for you, even if you don't want to manage that in-house, right? So marketplace is going to be even more relevant for you guys that are rolling into SaaS and you don't want to be you don't want to manage your own ad buyer in-house and designers and all of that. You'll be able to basically cut that whole thing out and then go straight to marketplace and say, hey, I just want to pay for $400 of Facebook ads and sell them for $1,500 and be out of the way, right? So take a look at Marketplace when you get a chance in your accounts. There's a ton of services there. Marketplace 2.0 is going to be pretty much rolled out at the same time as SaaS. It has, you know, whole range of new products and services and price points and all of that. Let's see, any more takeaways? Anybody that have a question that I can answer? Let's go through that.
Just wanted to say thank you for that answer. Appreciate all the time and the help.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure. Yeah. Steven, let's go with you. I just see that you raised hand.
Yeah, man. You had a question just a little while ago about somebody who was asking about automatic account creation and getting things set up right away. Do you suggest gatekeeping that process so that let's say you have your SaaS website and it's like, hey, you just straight up for the SaaS, here you go, you can get our product. Like having a little pricing thing on there and say, yeah, right, sign up, get in. Yeah, you log in and you can get going. I have some training modules in here. You got all set up like this.
Yeah.
Or do you suggest gatekeeping as in they have to go through you so that you can go through this sales process with them before they get there? And then you have that face-to-face, you have that relationship and you can up and down sell, do that stuff.
Yeah, I recommend a personal interaction, 100% on a Zoom call. Having your account manager,
just like create an account automatically. They have to go through you somehow.
Yeah, the reason why is because the biggest drop off in SaaS is the initial onboarding. Yeah, that's the biggest pain point when it comes to SaaS, right? It's the initial jumping into the system, right? So at that point, if you tell them, hey, $297, great, go self-serve, they're gonna fail flat on their face.
For sure they will, yeah.
Right. So for business owners, small business owners, I recommend you navigating them through instead of automating the process. Now, on the back end, automate processes for yourself to make it easier for yourself to onboard them. Your account managers, right? Instead of them having to do a bunch of manual work of creating this and creating that, it's okay to automate that on the back end internally, but not externally facing the clients.
But and just to clarify even further, I'm just talking about the point from which they pay and get a login for the thing. So yeah, I'm all for the onboarding, like 5-point touch before they launch and get their system live, even if they auto account create. But I'm just saying before they even get to that point with their login and a password, you're just saying like, make sure.
I rather have full control over that.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
If I have the ability, that's why I'm saying with the setup fee, you can count for an account manager or a project manager, right? Yeah. There's an important setup fee there. But you know, if you're selling to, let's say IT companies, right? They're a bit more technology savvy and you know that they can self-serve, then yeah, create the model that caters to that industry. But if you ask me to have chiros and dentists and med spa guys to do that, I'm going to take my chances and I rather remember SaaS clients stay on for 5-6 years, right? That's a different ball game versus agency clients who stay on for 4 months. Right. So for me, it's worth it for me to give up an entire year's revenue to onboard them right if I have to. I will make the money on the back end and build a very healthy business, minimum 4x what they would pay. Right. So it's so critical for the onboarding. Why do you think we have town hall sessions, white glove demo sessions, consulting, extensive amount
daily
of support,
Q&A for new users,
daily Q&As. It's this problem of adoption, right? So yeah, 100%,
cool,
100%. Take full control over it. Don't give them the freedom to set up anything, including the users and passwords. Right? Yeah. It's just take it right out of the gate. Eventually, if that becomes a bottleneck, then solve for tomorrow. Then,
yeah.
Right? Don't solve today. Don't solve tomorrow today. Right?
Okay.
Micah, let's go with you, man.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Hey, connected to my truck, so the sound doesn't come as good as my phone. Sorry about that.
Right.
You had mentioned a while back about account managers, and You also mentioned before this demo about offering white label support for SaaS clients.
Yep.
How does the account manager, or I guess I'm really asking, do you offer some type of account manager on my behalf that I'm just doing the selling and then you do the account management part?
Probably in the next 2 quarters, we will get there where we want to take the account management pressure off of you guys that are selling SaaS, and us at high level provide white label onboarding support, right? It still doesn't cater to you having to provide somebody that represents your brand, right? So the activities, it's going to be different, but we are going to get to a world where we will help you onboard your SaaS clients to your SaaS businesses, right? But we're not there anytime soon. We're going to first roll out SaaS features, February. I would say maybe March, April, we'll start talking about white label support. Right. That's going to be different. That's different versus account management. Account managers are going to be kind of like concierge services that represent your brand.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for distinguishing that.
Yep. Yeah, because you want to have a point of contact. You want to have a point of contact for your clients. We're not going to be talking to your clients or your customers.
I got you. So there's a difference between onboarding, that process, and then month 2 through month whatever is more of an account manager who's ongoing contact for them.
Yeah, month 2. I'm gonna be like, hey, Micah, we've been doing some great work for you. It seems like you don't have a lot of leads. Just want you to know we have an advertising package. It's about $1,000, and if you have a low amount of leads, that's what a lot of the other business owners are using with our system. We can run it for 2 months and then influx leads for you and turn it off. Let me know. That's what account management is going to do versus we're going to focus on onboarding for you, right? But we're not focused on ongoing management, at least not that I'm aware of. Does that help, Micah?
Yeah, thanks. I think it'll be helpful whenever you guys are running through new packages, being very specific about the roles in the titles. I think that's going to be helpful for not just me, but others as well. And thanks for your time again with all the great content.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think what we should do is rename it as like support rep versus just account management, right? Because you have account management, we have other account management for professional services. So I think that's a great point, Micah. Adrian, let's go back to you and almost wrap up the call here. I think it was really insightful for a lot of you in how we laid out a SaaS demo and differentiated against a agency demo, right? And how to maneuver through different offers. But Adrian, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Paulson. As you push the SaaS model and the white labeling further out, do you see that Go High Level be pulling back offering services out there directly?
Directly to who?
To the public, like having something similar to what we have, or do you want to keep it that way? I'm just curious.
I mean, are we going to ever get to a point where we don't let anybody in and just marketing agencies? Is that what you're asking?
Something like that, yes. I mean, there's a bunch of white label companies out there now that they really don't go to the front end on the customer side.
Yeah. I mean, thing is this, we know that business owners don't survive in our platform. They don't. They by themselves will churn out. Right. They always,
it's tough enough. Yeah.
It's tough enough for them to be churning out. And it almost it doesn't even like matter to us as much because it actually creates more opportunities for the agencies because the business owners come in and say, hey, I need somebody like Steven because I'm a chiropractor and he's already using. So we're actually see a very big positive for business owners to come in and realize it's well above their heads, but the ecosystem has providers, right? So we don't really cater. We're not going out there our ads are not going after business owners. Our ads are going after technology providers, right? So we will always see like a 10% of business owners coming in and out, and that churn is almost like irrelevant, right? Some of them adopt, some of them get really great, and they learn and increase their product knowledge and they survive, and that's okay, right? They were never meant to hire an agency anyway if that's what they adopted to, right? So to your point, it won't help you if we cut off business owners and say, hey, XYZ, you can't be here, right? And that's how we did, that's how we actually did go about it. We always, in the beginning stages, we required that as a small business owner, you had to come in with an agency. You couldn't sign up. We would cancel your account. We would kick you out of everything and tell you you need to go with consulting or come in with an agency because you're not going to survive this platform. But it's evolved, and honestly, as soon as the SaaS stuff is all kind of over with, like towards the end of this year, we're going to just stop with features altogether. No more, right? We're going to go back and rebuild the entire platform that's more user friendly, more design oriented, more experiential improvements versus just another bell and whistle, right? We're getting to the end of the next feature. We're going to run out of features to build. We're going to run out of software to replace, right? Pretty soon. So SaaS, I think, is it gives us the ability to democratize software industry altogether, let you guys be the MSPs and build something beautiful. But yeah, Adrian, it's a catch-22, but hopefully that helps. Guys, why didn't you tell me my room was super dark? I didn't realize it was getting darker and darker. But anybody else, you have anything you want to bring to the table and conversate here, feel free to do so. I don't see any more raised hands. If anybody wants to unmute and share. How many of you guys are already selling some SaaS even before SaaS mode is coming out? I see the interactions in the chat, and some of you guys are already just going with it, manually billing and things like that, and getting some really good results.
Hey, after this call, I left after the first hour because I had 2 demos. I just got back. Where can I find the recording?
So as soon as I end this call, our production manager will take the recording and they'll edit it and they'll throw it into the YouTube channel. So yeah, go to the YouTube channel and find the high level channel, the high level channel, the account, and then the replays will be in there.
I didn't see the middle of the body of the presentation. Did you like give away a pitch deck or anything like that?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep this to myself and pitch myself. We need you to all have it, right?
So where do I find the pitch deck to download it?
It'll be in the help desk. So
okay.
Help.gohighlevel.com. That's where all of our sales collaterals are. By the way, all the case studies are in there too for Marketplace. So those of you that want case studies for Facebook ads that we could do for you, Google ads, SEO, websites, funnels, social media management, all of that, all those case studies are also in the help desk along with sales collaterals. Okay.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Did you close the 2 deals though?
Yeah, so we're a dental. Yeah, I don't sound arrogant. I kind of always do, but we're our niche is dental, and we're partnered with like 3 big consulting firms, and they just feed us clients. So it's like it's a pitch, but it's like
it's more of like an onboarding.
It's close because they're like, all right, well, I'm opening up my practice, and they say you're the guy. So
got it. Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys, thanks for being on the call. What I wanted to do was really just lay out the difference between SaaS demo versus agency demo. A lot of you, just quick couple of takeaways. One of the most important things is the linguistic awareness, right? Do not go into the technology world when you're talking. Like you have to separate yourself, your mind, body, and soul, and get into the framework of where that business owner really is. Otherwise, you'll find yourself drowning in the features and all the capabilities. And typically you would lose the sale because kind of like the other gentleman that was doing a SaaS demo, I don't know if it was David, you ended up talking to them for an hour and a half, talked about every single feature, and they got overwhelmed and they're out of the door. Right? If I did that to like an agency owner or an IT professional or somebody who's technology driven, then it makes sense. But if I'm going to talk to, you know, somebody that's just a, you know, local business owner in a, you know, local community, they're not living in the world that we live in. So that's one of the biggest takeaways. The other is, don't think of SaaS as if it's going to replace your agency services. It's going to actually complement your agency services. And now, if you have enough SaaS sold, you don't have to depend on your agency services. Agency services just naturally will become the icing on the cake. Your whole business model will change, and you'll have stability across the board, you know, really decreasing churn altogether. And then when you have healthier book of business, you turn into a acquirable business. You rather become an interesting business to merge and do more partnerships with, right? So that's the two big takeaways I have. And the third one is, you should be selling SaaS with or without high level, right? It doesn't have to be high level. You can sell any software the right way and create a book of business like this. We just make it that much easier for you, right? Like we're the first ever marketing operating system there is in the world, right? The only one that came in and said, hey, let's combine all the freaking marketing softwares into one and give it all unlimited away without any location charges, right? And on top of that, allow all of you to white label the brand and be like, hey, I am a white, you know, provider of XYZ, right? So those are the three big takeaways I got for you. The only other thing I want to add on is, make sure you go to Marketplace. If you are interested in outsourcing a lot of your Facebook ads or Google ads or SEO, website, funnel, social media management, any of those services, your own, like, we don't outsource anything. We don't have any partners in there. It's the high level agency that's actually providing the services to you, right? And we happen to have a great software that you guys all like as an agency. So thanks for being on the call, guys. Hopefully this was good. And we'll load up the replay on YouTube here in the next couple of days. We'll also load up the demo decks, both of them, into the help desk. So cheers. Have a good rest of your afternoon.